This story happened a couple of days ago, and I didn't get around to it. So if you're watching this afterwards over on YouTube as a segment or Facebook or wherever you're listening to it, my apologies there for being late to it. I didn't get to it on the show when this information broke. But there is an activist out of Boston who is getting away with a lot of loot. Let's say that. It's just funny how we continue to see more of these stories happen where these people get caught doing shady shit in the name of activism. Black Lives Matter, the organization, we've covered it. And they buying mansions all over the fucking place. Patrice Khan colors or colors Khan, whichever way it fucking goes. I don't know. She's a lesbian. I think all three of the co-founders are lesbians. I could be wrong. Black Lives Matter. It's almost as if it was just a man-hating fucking organization that was just using black men, dead bodies to, I don't know, perpetuate their own hate. They say they hate the patriarchy and all that shit. And they were just using black dead men in order to use it. It was always a scam of an organization. But y'all don't want to listen to me. And a lot of you crackhead motherfuckers was actually tricked into giving this company, or rather organization, so much money, definitely in the summer of love, because you felt guilty for some reason, particularly you white leftists, weirdos. Felt so guilty, because of the George Floyd situation. You had all this stuff going on throughout the country, and you felt so guilty, and you were just giving money to organizations, and one of those leading organizations that received a lot of y'all's donations and ended up pissing it away is Black Lives Matter, a global network fund or whatever it actually is. You got conned, and you are a stupid son of a bitch, and I hope you feel bad for it. You fucking loser. But let's read this story here, coming from New York Post. High-profile social justice activist in Boston and her husband used a nonprofit they founded to scam at least $185,000 from donors. Sheesh. Who included Black Lives Matter chapter and the local district attorney's office. What the fuck are they involved with this for? And federal authorities. Monica Cannon Grant and Clark Grant allegedly treated their violence in Boston organization as personal piggy bank to pay for rent, shopping sprees, delivery meals, and visits to a nail salon and a summer vacation trip to Maryland. Hey, here's a news flash, fellas and ladies. They're all doing this shit. One of the biggest fucking hustles that has ever existed over the course of recent American history is the racism hustle. These motherfuckers been getting rich, lining their own pockets and going on sprees with the money that you give them. And all they got to do is show up when some dead black man is there. And or rather, let's say they think someone gets the short end of the stick regarding the police, and they come and say, march and I'll do all of that shit. They all in on it, guys. So many of it's one of the big. You want to talk about literal grift? The term grift is everybody's favorite term to use right now. And most people that utilize it don't know what it means. If you want to talk about literal textbook definition, these guys, these race hustlers, as we call them, have been around for fucking decades. And they have been lining their fucking pockets and using activism as a front to do it. And I've said before, activism, it's been this way. But especially now in this day and age and fucking, we talk about first world problems. In this day and age, it's an occupation for losers. They don't really want to do shit, but want to pay lip service to a lot of shit, to do a lot of nonsense that doesn't really fix any sort of problems. But when they want to feel like they're doing something good and then get paid for it, profit or non-profit, doesn't matter. They using your money to do this type of shit. Think about the millions upon millions of dollars that have been given to these. Just let's look at the summer of love in 2020. Think about the millions upon millions of dollars that went to a handful of organizations that were supposed to be doing all of this. They got more money probably in that period of time from guilty white people than they ever got over the course of recent American history. And what has that got you? Nothing. Y'all still bitching about the same shit. Nothing. Cannon Grant Ann Grant established the nonprofit in 2017, the same year she made headlines for helping organize a white supremacy march in Boston, following the deadly Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. Oh, I remember that boogeyman. That was like January 6th, boogeyman. That was the first one. In 2019, she boasted of having the personal cell phone numbers of then Mayor Marty Walsh, now U.S. Secretary of Labor, the current mayor, Michelle Wu, who was a council member at the time, and the local district attorney. This is in a 2019 interview. The following year, she was named Best Social Justice Advocate by Boston Magazine and one of the Boston Globe's Bostonians of the Year. One of the earliest victims of the alleged fraud scheme was Cambridge, Mass. Chapter of Black Lives Matter. So the scammers got scammed. I see that. That's a gang war right there. According to an 18-count indictment unsealed against the couple in the Boston federal court on Tuesday, the BLM chapter made a $3,000 donation via PayPal to support violence in Boston's program to feed the needy children in 2017, only to have the money secretly transferred 2 days later to a bank account belonging to one of the Cannon Grant's family members. So they lining up their cronies. In June 2019, Cannon Grant also took part in a ceremony at Suffolk, however you say it, Mass. That place is a shithole anyway, so I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce it right. District Attorney's Office, where a nonprofit was awarded $6,000 and forfeited access to take 10 at-risk young men from Boston's crime-ridden Roxbury neighborhood to a 3-day violence prevention retreat in Philadelphia. But instead of using the money that way, Cannon Grant and her hubby, who at the time had balances of $1.35 and $21 on their So in their personal checking accounts, they were pissy broke. And they found that activism hustle and got laced the fuck up. Allegedly blew it on a trip in Colombia the following month. The spending included more than a $1,200 at Sonesta Suites Hotel, as well as hundreds more for rental car, fuel, parking, and meals at the Bubba Gump Shrimp and Shake Shack and the restaurants and other restaurants in Connecticut, New Jersey, and Maryland. They were living the life. At the time, the DA was Rachel Rollins, whose last year was named U.S. Attorney for Mass, and who's brought the charges against Cannon Grant and her husband. A Rollins spokesperson says she is recused from the matter pursuant to the Department of Justice policy, and she doesn't have anything else to say. Black Lives Matter Cambridge didn't immediately return a request for comment. The couple's alleged fundraising fraud allegedly accelerated in 2020. Again, everybody's fraud accelerated in 2020 when their nonprofit began raking donations on an upward of $50,000 a month. They were fucking paid, baby. Fucking paid. With some of the proceeds withdrawn cash from ATMs or transferred to investment accounts at the Robinhood and E-Trade websites, according to the indictment. They're also accused of scamming a total of more than $100,000 in federal pandemic-related unemployment benefits. Everybody got in on that fucking scam. She collected more than $27,000 in consulting fees for assisting an unidentified media company with diversity, equity, and inclusion. I told y'all, bros, these jobs are fake. How many times have you heard me say that? They're effectively money laundering schemes, man. There's no demand for these jobs. Later paid herself $2,788 weekly salary from violence in Boston, and he had a full-time job with a commuter services company, according to the indictment. And as you can see, she, of course, all these dead black men hold them up as a megaphone, screeching and shit. This is a hustle. This is the hustle. And this story continues to go on. Long story short, this chick was using her activism to lace the pockets of herself and her husband. And they going down for it. But if you think she the only one, or even, this sketchy shit that's happening out of BLM or happening to BLM in California, if you think these the only ones that are in on the jig, you crazy. I'd argue most of them are in on the jig. Again, just think about it from a results perspective. All of the money that's going into these programs and organizations, what have you got out of it? Nothing. A bunch of more lip service. I guess well-produced lip service is what you got. But you ain't got nothing in terms of, ending some sort of racial injustice. You ain't got shit. Where you think the money's going? They in one way. Some are a little more discreet. Some are a little more on the nose. But either way, some crony is being lined up with the money that your guilty ass is giving these fucking loser-ass organizations. It's one of the long-standing hustles. Race hustles, these guys been around for a minute, man. They ain't going away. She ain't the only one, best believe. Hell, if anything, I would say start digging a little more there. Because I'm willing to bet a lot of people that are participating in bringing this person down and her husband down probably got some other shit on them. And they like, well, shit, we got to bury somebody. Try to get the heat off of us. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.